Hey guys, welcome to our video here for Kabroda and going over price action here on just kind of what happened throughout the day. That's typically we look at, but we also talk about different opportunities in the price action and learning how to use key levels and looking for breakouts and all that kind of good stuff. And most of the things that we do see on the videos and things that we're looking at are from our indicator or from our site that we have built out. Anyways, let's go ahead and dig into price action today and take a look what happened and really where is price action kind of wanting to go and what happened in the last 24 hours that kind of shows that it could probably go there before it still pulls back. And when I say pull back, there I do want to kind of look at it and show with you some key levels that have held the strength in the last little bit. So. Uh, I know today has been a pretty crazy day if you were part of price action because it tried to run up and break out and do some weird stuff. And we didn't quite get some movement and then it rolled over and came and got everybody on both sides. But if you were using the Kabroda's site, it actually called all this out for you. And we could take a look at that as well if you wanted to see that. I'll pull that up as well so we can take a look at it here and see. So let me go ahead and actually jump on in over to share the screen here and point this out. So we're sitting on the Kabroda market radar screen. It does pull these three different tokens. You have BTC, ETH, and Solana. These are three options here. You can see that ETH actually gave a long today, is what it was going for. And then Solana was kind of that same thing that you could have looked at. And then BTC is an option. Now, when I say that, it's because I'm kind of reading where the levels are. But ultimately, it wasn't really giving favor on ETH or Solana because you can see that the macro bullish and the micro is neutral on both those time frames. So they are kind of uh, these all kind of play together. If you're really watching this a lot, you'll find that a lot of times if BTC is starting to get a strong move, you'll see that these start to push out. Or if it's starting to get ready for a pullback, a lot of times you'll see these set up as well. And you're kind of seeing that right now. And BTC is getting tired on its push. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the terminal for BTC, and it'll give us some targets for possible trades today that we need to watch out for. Now, you can see that there's not a lot of liquidity up in these upper areas. These were set for the morning, and they're kind of telling you what was going on. That's what these are for here. So you can see they're pretty even. There wasn't a lot of energy in the space. And these are your entries here. So 78,990 and 77,526 were kind of the areas. And if you look at these around the triggers, a lot of times they're showing you this is where the energy is going to push through. And then a lot of times that's when you're looking at getting into the trade. But you can see that really it's just telling you that it's going to be kind of in that chop zone. It's probably in a fake out trap detected. So there's lower liquidity right now in the high time frame. So stand down is pretty much what it's saying. Be careful taking a long here. And that's kind of what it's telling you right out here before I went into that area. The other thing is it's telling you target 2 right now, which is actually your daily resistance, is down underneath the trigger. So you have your trigger up here and your daily resistance down here. So it's telling you there's a pretty strong liquidity wall right here. And we can go ahead and take a look at that as well here in a minute. Now, if this does break out, it is saying, well, if it can get above this liquidity wall, which it seems kind of weird because it's calling it target 2, but that's kind of why we set it up. We always kind of shoot for target 2 anyways. And a lot of times we're looking at where the daily resistance is. If you're going to go for a long, that's what we're looking at. And those levels are all based on the last 24 hours worth of data. And that's why it's kind of important when we're analyzing this. Of course, this is where your stop is. Again, this is where the breakout trigger is. And then you can see just the opposite over here on the short side. Now, the short side isn't really given much life either in a drop. So even if it drops down, you're only talking 77,044. So let's go ahead and jump over to the charts and see what's kind of going on. I mean, obviously you're into the day now, so it's not, when we're looking at this now, it's not quite as exciting, but Here is where all that stuff got put on the scenes here, and you can see this was pretty healthy. It did come down and trade right on the 200, and it showed it wanted to go up. Well, this is what I was talking about. It's right here in this area that it said be careful. Well, now it gave that target 2, which is really right in this area. It said it's already telling you that be careful because it's not real. There's a pretty strong liquidity right here. There's not much energy up here. So if you start to get through, you need to clear that to really get excited. Well, you started to get the breakout. This was kind of that fake out, right? It started to fake out, rejected perfectly, right where it's pretty much was telling you it's going to reject. And ultimately, this is where you would have wanted to look at taking that short. It's kind of calling it out for you. So if you were in a long for some reason above this, you definitely would have wanted to get out. And now this went down to whip down into liquidity, but where did it really go? Let's say it was kind of right around these bodies where it came down. So right off this bottom here, and really look what it looks like. It was really coming after this liquidity here, and then it bounced back up. And now you're kind of playing, okay, can we get out? So a lot of this already ate up all that energy that we were looking at on the site. And now you're kind of in a new trade, which this does show more bullish now. And now that all this has been eaten up, this shows that it could rip up here. So looking at this, you're looking at 77,141. And if we go back here, we were saying that this could wick down to really your 77,444 would have been the best target that you could have came down to. So that would have put it right. Well, I guess it would have been up here more on the trigger. So if you use the Kabroda levels, you would have gotten out really right through here. And that's why it has so much energy, because the triggers that it's giving you is also trying to read the wall of energy. So you can see that it came down, then snapped pretty hard right here, probably because it was part of that wall and just wicked down pretty hard. Now we could look at this for what were the levels if we wanted to just look at the Fibonacci levels. It's, I guess it's pretty accurate on the Fibonacci levels based on what you would have saw here. You had 77,584, 77,404, and then 77,115. So if we go back in here, your target one was 77,494, and then 475, and then 444. That was kind of telling you where the bottom was. Pretty tight there. It's pretty close on liquidity area, and you can see it didn't really drop much. When it came down, it was pretty fast, and it came right back up and started to trade up there. And that kind of move actually does create more of that bullish behavior. So if you're really looking at wanting to get into trades earlier, this would have been a more of a bullish trade, and you could have traded down below that wall that was there and ran this up. Now this does show that it could rip up here from older targets, so you could have been targeting that area. Of course, you have to get through this key area here still, and I'm just talking about a little more advanced trading. Ultimately, on the system, you're looking for the breakdown with a confirmation. So if you're on the 15-minute, this would have been the breakdown. Here's your confirmation. You could have entered here, but you can see there's not a lot of room for this to move. So if we follow the system completely, let's say you entered right after this close, you would have entered here. Your stop should have been up here at least above the 30-minute high, and then whatever you decide to put the stop at, which for me, I like to have at least, if you can go to target 2 with a 0.5 reward. So in this case, I mean, if you just took this and got in right as you were supposed to, you would have got the 0.5 and you would have been fine. Obviously, if you stretch this out a little bit, you still made a 1 to 14. Pretty much you're just basically saying $100 on the market, give you 114 back, or $50 back if you did or 67, I guess, dollars back for $100 invested. So just kind of pointing that out, the system did play out for you, and you could have got into it if you didn't do everything I just talked about. That's the point. These Kabroda levels is what we call them. Come from the site. You put them on right at the beginning of the day, and you're kind of watching price action for what we just went through. That's what's exciting about it. One thing I always say is you don't get greedy as a trader. If you, a lot of guys say, well, I want to make 100,000 a year. Well, that's just making what, $200 trades in a day. So, you could basically do that, or don't get too anal about it. And some days you make $1,000 and some days you make $200 or whatever. Averages out anyway. So really, that's the problem with trading. Everybody's over trading, or they're trying to be aggressive and get these long moves. The sad thing is they don't, like, if they let's go back to that trade. This is what most traders actually do. The system set up, got the close, they got in, they put the trade and everything on, they execute the trade, great. But what they do is they want to make these big rewards, right? They don't want to do what I just explained. So they're like, you know what, I'm going to have this come all the way down here today. That's a 4.72, $100, you make $472. That's a really good return, right? $100, you make 472. Yeah, sign me up all day. I'll do that. But reality, what happened is he didn't get it anywhere, and that trader got stopped out right now. So they got in, it broke down, started to regroup. They never got out, even though it was showing bullish behavior. Got back into this area. They're hoping it's going to roll back over and head down to their target. And the trade was right here, and it was over with. Now it's back into no man's land. Go up, it could go down. The edge that you had is over with. And the sad thing is you miss out. That's why I'm pointing this out. If you just went to target 2 every time, target 2 is right here at 77,495. Well, I don't make very much money. I'm only making, like I said, my goal is to at least do 0.5 to 1, because I'm not looking for it to ever come up and hit the stop. So really what would happen to me if I got in this trade and it was this tight, I mean, I would have been like, oh man, it's not going to move very far, but I would have made quick cash, right? The other thing is, though, what I'm looking for is this is going to quickly get to where it needs to go, and then it's going to get done. The only way I would have, if it bounced right here and then went back up and got me up here, then I would have missed out, because I had my stop just a little bit below this 50 or whatever you want to say, but I would have been just a little bit down in this pocket and just missed this rotation. You know, that's what you're really, you know, does that happen very often? Not really. Not if you're executing correctly and really taking advantage of the moves. It's kind of like right now, if I was going to look at this breaking out, you're in the 15-minute. We're in that candle right now. I wouldn't count these candles if they closed above. They're like, you know, that's hard. I guess you could, if you just really wanted to be very, that's the way it is, you could say, okay, well, there's the close above, let's get in. Let me flip this around. We're going to go long now. So we're going to go ahead and just get in on this candle. Again, we're going to go run to the moon, right? Let's set that up. We're going to put our stop right here below the 30-minute low, and we're going to run this to the moon. Well, let's be careful. Let's set the levels by using our Fibonacci extension and mark out the triggers. Well, it says target 2 is right here. So let's go ahead and mark out target 2. And a clean, easy trade back to the upside. This could roll up. This could run all the way up there. Yes, I'm not going to disagree with you, but this could run up pretty fast. And again, you put $100 on the market, you made 1.76. You put $1,000 on the market, you made $1,760. So this is basically the system. That's all you're doing is waiting to break out. The biggest thing is yeah, it's got to get through this first liquidity wall, which it already came and took it earlier today, became bullish, and it is grinding up. So the trade that I'm talking about right now is ready to go. I mean, I'll leave it on here and paper trade it. But if I was going to trade longer, if you're saying, well, why don't you just trade target 3 or whatever, trade it to target 2 and take off a percentage of that trade. On this kind of market right now, I'd say probably take 70%, leave 30% on the market. Probably at that point too, I'd run my stop up to at least to like a break-even level, and then run this up to whatever target I think it's going to go to. And then if you lose out, you're not going to make as much money, obviously, on the trade. You'll find that it's easier just to take the money out all the time. But just kind of a food for thought there. So that's about it, guys. I'll go ahead and leave you with that. Do watch. This is kind of that last hurrah where a lot of the energy is. So if this does spike up and it kind of heads up in this area, be careful on just getting the FOMO of jumping into the next run. I'll point that out. But other than that, guys, we will catch you in the next one. Take care, like and subscribe, put comments down below if you have any questions, whatever. We'll go from there. All right, thanks, guys.